Welcome to Spurs Vision TV. Of course, good evening to all you guys in Asia, right? And of course, good morning, good afternoon to you guys in the UKs and in Europe. I guess it's in the afternoons, right?
Afternoon.
Yep,
It is
Afternoon.
afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon. And of course, good morning, all you guys in Americas, right? And especially Canada, right? But Brian Daigle now is back in London. So good morning to him. And of course, good morning to all you guys. And good evening to all you guys who are from Asia. Welcome, Alan. Alan is a Spurs fan. Keshav is a West Ham fan. And Mani is, of course, is an Arsenal fan. Today we have a motley crew of London's club fans.
London calling to the faraway towns, if you will.
London calling. Right. How have you been doing, Alan?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, Eugene. Not too bad. And yourself? Hope you all had a happy new year. Or good start to it.
Yep, hopefully. Keshav, since you've beaten Brentford right now in the FA Cup and you guys drew, right? And of course, let me say a big up to Bob Spur.
Bobby.
Yeah, if you want to join us, can join us, Bob. You have the link, you know where to find it, right? Hope you're doing well. Keshav, what you drew against Villa in the Premier League, right?
No, we drew against Leeds.
Oh, you drew against Leeds. Yeah, sorry. You drew against Leeds and then you beat Brentford in the FA Cup. So I guess you guys are just feeling a bit more positive at the moment now. But of course, sorry to say that your chairman, Mr. David Gold, right, passed away last week. RIP to him. Right, no matter how much we hate our owners or our chairmen and all that, they're still human, right? A certain degree of respect and honor must still be given to them as being human beings, right? So that's how I feel about that. So, and how are you feeling, Keshav, at the moment now? Optimistic for this weekend for your games coming up?
To be honest, not really. Even despite the win against Brentford, don't get me wrong. To be honest, Brentford field their second string side, so in that case, we should have been able to beat them. And I think we did struggle in most parts of the game to beat them. But of course, the win is the most important thing that we took, especially I took from the game.
All right.
And going into this Wolves game again, it's not going to be easy. They are good side Wolves, and they've got some good players like Traore and Jimenez and Guedes, and they did very well against Liverpool. I think they came back and they showed a strong performance. And I know from Julian Lopetegui's side, they're very hard to beat and they give us a tough time. But I hope we can win because it's not going to be an easy game. It'll be a tough game for sure. And we just have to see how it goes. But I'm not really confident because I know all of the bottom half teams are sort of playing each other, I think, this week. So we have to see. But I wouldn't take a draw right now. We have to try and win the game, and that's the most important thing.
Yep. And of course, to make the screen complete now, Nippon from Chelsea, London. Yeah. I'm not sure, Nippon, how you've been doing. Nippon, I'm not sure you met Ellen. I'm not sure you met Ellen yet, right?
Yeah, we've crossed paths a few times when I was working.
Despite the loss, I'm doing quite well.
Yeah. How are you doing? Haven't seen some time, Nippon. Haven't seen some time on Spurs Vision. Right. Hope you're doing well.
I'm
and
good,
of course,
Look, we are all in the mud together. Your team and my team, we're all in the mud at this moment in time.
Yeah. But,
the only team that is flying is Manny's team.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Right. Let me just
As I said earlier on, Nippon, the higher you fly, the further you fall.
Wait, how will Arsenal have a downfall?
They
won't.
Well, the only thing, Nippon, it just depends on how far they go in Europe because they do. The one thing I will say is they don't have. I don't know whether you've got much squad depth. Have you, Manny?
No, we don't. And is that squad depth which will be our
you have the Super Eddie and Ketia. Call me.
Oh dear. But before that, let me just go through the chats. Hi, Chris Agamba. We got Chris. How are you doing? And of course, Shaggy 1712 actually is Ian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 3 guests. I'm happy to watch. Otherwise, I'll come on when I can. Hop on Ian anytime you want to, right? You've got the link. You know where to find it, right? And the same for Bobby too, right? But of course, at the moment now, what's coming up? Of course, we're going to just have a bit of chat about the FA Cup that went by, right? Spurs, I know, not even getting out of second year, beat Portsmouth. Arsenal will be playing Oxford tonight, right? Chelsea,
Come on, Oxford! Come on, Oxford!
and not to say Chelsea got Chelsea got spanked by Manchester City, right? Right, and of course West Ham scraping through too, right, against Brentford. So I guess at the moment the only result that we are waiting for now is the Oxford game against Mani. Mani, what do you think? You guys are playing away today, right?
Yeah, we are playing away. We are sort of traveling to Oxford's home turf, and it will be interesting to see the level of seriousness that we, exude. Because one particular school of thought, when you take a look at the teams that have exited the competition at this stage, including some teams which are also high flying, and which also, I mean, there were a couple of them, in fact, who lost to opposition who were much, much lower than them. I'm talking about Newcastle and Aston Villa.
That's true.
There's a school of thought which says that maybe these teams in the Premiership just don't care about the FA Cup anymore, and it might be high time to reward the FA Cup winner with a Champions League place. To me, that's a ridiculous idea because, again, for cup competition,
Man, you want to hear something? For me, the extra Europa League place should go to the Carabao Cup winner, and the fifth Champions League place, as you call it, should either go down to the winner of the Champions League or the FA Cup winner.
Yep. And Brian, if you're free on the hop on, you can let me on, but I'm not sure, but you said most probably you started work this week, right? So Brian Daigle, big up, Brian Daigle, right? My brother Brian Daigle, right? But okay, I'm going to give Nippon this question, right? Shaggy says, right? Ian says, right? Chelsea has some awful injuries, right? With all the injuries that you have, right, Nippon, right? Do you think Potter can do any much more better at the moment?
Not with the current crop of players we have. There are certain players. Look, a lot of our fans like just sticking the blame at the manager, but the players are the ones. There are certain players that do not deserve to wear that shirt. Like J5, let's have it right. Big up Johnny Minerals if he's listening. Let's have it right. He's only there because he only looked good because he had a better midfielder in N'Golo Kante in a pivot with him. Mason Mount, just living off that Champions League winning assist. Same with Kai. Look, Mason Mount and Kai Havertz are both living off. Yeah, another one who shouldn't be there, Kai Havertz. Those two players alone are living off that Champions League final rep. And Mason Mount, £300,000 a week. Get rid. Honestly. He's a good player, but squad depth at best. And if he wants a £300,000 a week contract, he can go. I couldn't care less. Who else? Pulisic and Ziyech. They will need to go as well. It's honest. It's all on. It's certain players do not deserve to be at the club. I don't know how you feel about when it comes to players at your club as well, Eugene.
Oh, to tell the truth, right? We have our three top prime attackers all out at the moment, right? We've got Bentancur out, we've got Decky's out, we've got Richarlison's out, right? So, honestly, I mean, like let's say for Ellen, being a Spurs fan at the moment, there's a big rife and divide among the way the Conte plays and all that, the style of football and the ways that the things has been going with us, right? And especially now we're actually in the January transfer window. The window is open, right? And Spurs have been linked, to a few players, right? Not like last time.
Did you say sort of linked?
Like, yeah, we always linked.
Like, linked like what?
Yeah,
like,
linked.
There might have been a whisper.
Yeah.
That's how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah. But we do know, right? I'm sure that all you guys know that Spurs, we've lost that the creativity once we lose Decky, right? Even I'm sure Mani and Keshaf and Nipun understands that once you lose the Decky, Spurs looks blunt at the moment, right? But somehow or another we lost to Aston Villa at home, and that was not a really, really good result for us, right? And then after that, of course, we went to Crystal Palace away and we turned up. And sometimes when we turn up, we are nice and we are slick and and somehow or another we always turn up only in the second half. We never turn up in the first half. So I guess that's the problem that Spurs have at the moment.
At least you guys turn up.
Yeah.
At least you guys turn up.
Yeah. But Nipun, question to you, right? A lot of Chelsea fans now are saying, right, they would swap Conte for Potter. Right. So I'm not sure how far that you go that you want Conte, right? But at the moment,
I've already said it's not the manager that's the issue. It's the shit players he has.
Yeah, but the thing is that with all that, the problems that you guys have, at least you're spending money and getting in new players straight away. Look at what are we doing, right? I'm sure even Mani will agree. Being an Arsenal fan, are you linked to any prominent strikers at the moment? Right.
As far as prominent strikers go, not really. We are sort of trying to. I mean, we're caught in two minds. It's a bit like the parable of the donkey with two bales of hay. We've got Mudrak on one side and João Felix on another side, and yet we know that if we dawdle, we might lose both of them. Alan, I'm pretty certain that you live in London, so you might know of this proverb: "Shy boys don't get sweets." You've got to make sure that you make sure you set out to get what you want and focus on that. We're in a situation really where we're crying for the manager to get some backing from the owners, and yet the owners don't seem to be willing to want to, open their checkbook. And yet, having said that, the difference between a manager like Arteta and someone like Conte, who has made it crystal clear that he has to get what he wants in terms of players. Otherwise, he will cause a ruckus and decide to walk away. At least that is the way sometimes you've got to get these owners out of their stupor. Sometimes as a manager, you've got to put your foot down and say, I'm not having any of this. And the biggest problem with having a novice like Arteta here managing the team is that as well as he may probably do, and I still don't think in any way that we should, roll out the red carpet for him and praise him because the season isn't half over.
Have you got all the documents?
I would say definitely that the board probably felt as though they had someone who wasn't willing to stir the pot as such, because when Unai Emery was with us, the same Emery who, of course, masterminded that 2-0 win at the Tottenham Stadium. I'm sorry, but I have to keep bringing that up. He was one person who obviously wanted to try to take the club in a new direction from the Wenger years and see how far they could go.
I'll come back in a bit. I've
Sure,
something to sort out.
Okay. All right. You're going good. Get things done.
See you later.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Right,
Take care, Nathan. All right.
Cheers.
All right.
Cheers, man.
And of
But
course,
anyway, he obviously...
go ahead.
So he obviously wanted to try and take the team in the new direction. He was quite opinionated in terms of the players he wanted. He ended up getting some completely different people altogether. And at the end of that season, although it ended with a bit on a low note, there were some promising signs. But the board just weren't willing to give him that level of leeway that they've given Arteta so far, and that really is what kind of hurts me. And Arteta seems to be a throwback to the Wenger days. I think people are going to talk about the level of fight that we have shown of late, which is an improvement from some of the darkest days of Wenger's era. But still, there's many a slip between the cup and the lip, as I always say. So again, back to your question, we have been linked with Mudrak, we have been linked with João Felix. As far as the striker is concerned, obviously we can't keep depending on Eddie Nketiah. Yes, he has scored a few goals in his past few games, an average of 1 a game. But we've seen it before. I mean, obviously last season, he scored 2 against Leeds, 2 against Chelsea, made that ridiculous call me maybe celebration. I mean, I keep wondering who he's trying to call. Maybe it's the Ghostbusters, I don't know. And then when we needed him against your lot and also against Newcastle, he was nowhere to be seen. And then he scores against Everton and does the celebration again, and everyone thinks, oh, in him we've got Thierry Henry incarnate or the replacement for Aubameyang. Ridiculous. It really is. So we do need to spend. We do need to make sure that we spend money wisely and make sure that we have our checkbook open and just make sure that we do the needful. Otherwise, we're going to keep losing more of our prospective players to teams like your team and also to Chelsea or even Manchester United if we're just not careful enough. And we do need a striker. We definitely would like to have some defensive cover at right back, or maybe a new centre back will definitely be a good option. There's a lot that in which we need to strengthen. Some central defensive midfield cover in case, God forbid, Partey gets injured. And yet, it's basically all talk and nothing much else. And the same thing as it could be the same thing as it was in September if we're not careful.
Yeah. Welcome to our world. We've had that for 22 years, mate.
Yes, Manny. But before we continue, let me go through the chats a bit. Big up, Phil. Woo! Yeah, Phil Peace in the house.
Philly.
And of course, we got Mark Cousins. Big up, Mark. Right. And who else do we have? Clement. Yeah, big up, Clement. Yeah, good day to everyone. Right. And of course, Enoch, and of course, Levy out. That's what we all saying nowadays, right? Being a Spurs fan. And of course, being already we're going to the ninth day in the transfer window. Being Spurs, and of course at the moment now, Spurs, Arsenal, and of course Kesha, right? Who's a West Ham fan. Are your owners going to buy anyone at the moment, right? Before we go to that, big up to Mike Green. Big up, good afternoon to Mike, right?
To be honest, we are looking at a few options. We're looking at mostly the striker department. I just saw a report saying we've been linked with Sevilla striker Al Nasseri, who I think is actually a very good striker. But I think this season he has not scored any goals, to be honest. Last season he scored a few goals. But I think what I can see from him is a very athletic striker, very physical striker, can get into the penalty box. And he did very well in the World Cup, especially for Morocco. So I don't see a shock, to be honest, in terms of us getting an interest in him. It seems that we are sort of looking at a loan with a buy option, I think, of around 25 million. But it seems Sevilla holding out for around 30 to 35 million, according to the Daily Mail. So we'll see how it goes. But I think it will look like a good option for us. But if you ask me honestly, I'd like to look at possibly getting a new left back and right back in, because looking at our squad right now, our defense is aging. Cresswell is not getting any older, to be honest. I think he's 33 right now, and Kofal is, I think, 31. So it doesn't look good in terms of us, because we do really need pace in our side. We do need players who are quick on the ball, more direct in the way we play. And I think if you get some good youngsters or maybe some good championship players like we've done in the past, then I think it'd be good to go. But that looks for me, looking at the squad, that would be our main priority. But I don't think Moyes will be looking to buy anybody because of how much we spent in the summer. But we'll see.
But to tell the truth, right, I don't think in the end of the day, like for West Ham and for Spurs, right, I'm not sure about Arsenal, right, Manny. For us, it's like, for like what Conte has already said and come out, that he says that the players that's been identified that's been needed to join our to build up our squad, and the whatever that's been happening, right? It's down to the owners who they want, not what the managers want. That's the sad part, right? And of course, let me welcome and then Ian. Ian just, I don't know, he was on and he's well, let's see whether he comes back on again now. Ian, okay, he was in the back room for a while, right? But at the moment now, we all know we have our issues, right? Of the players that's needed. Hold on, let me get Ian back on. Hi, Ian.
Good afternoon, Eugene. Good afternoon, fellow panelists. How are we all?
Yeah. Have you met? I'm sure you met Alan before, Ian, right?
I certainly know Alan, and Keshav was on with me last week. I don't know if I know Manny.
The last North London derby, he poured beer all over me blooming leg.
This is true.
And that was in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he poured beer on your leg.
He said
Real
hello,
life in the bricklayers or whatever it was.
He said hello to someone, and as he was saying hello, he was pouring beer over my leg.
It was the excitement of knowing that Sanchez was playing ahead of Romero being injured. That's what did it.
Okay,
that's too early. Before that,
Ian Mani is an Arsenal fan from Chennai. right?
Yeah,
He's from
hi,
India.
Chennai. Hi, I picked up. I picked up before I logged out of the YouTube to log into this. He was talking about Arsenal, so sounded very pessimistic for a team that's doing exceptionally well.
Yeah. But Manny's one of these Arsenal
please
fans
blame.
which are very grounded.
Ian, you might want to blame that, sir, on more than 10 years of roller coaster rides under one of the old managers. It's the weight of history. And sadly, hope and history hardly ever rhyme these days. We will see what happens, but a lot will hinge on what happens in this window and how we approach some of these games.
That's true. That's true.
I think the one thing I rather wondered if after the break you might not come back as strong, that that gap might have just blown the inertia, but it hasn't. You played well since you came back. City seem to be on some form. I mean, I must be honest, even when you were doing well, I still thought City with Haaland, they'll still win the league by 10 points plus. I'm certainly not don't think that now. And everybody below you, us, Newcastle had a bad defeat yesterday, so it shows they haven't got massive strength in depth. Chelsea are just, I heard a little bit of, I can't remember the boy's name now, but talking about Chelsea, and they do have some shocking injuries. And I don't suppose patience goes hand in hand with that club anymore.
Oh, yeah, I understand. Yeah, but let me read out Clement, right? Clement says that Keshaf, sell Rice, and then you get all, whatever is supposed to be there. You sell Rice, right? Of course, right. But will you sell Rice in January, Keshaf? That's the question now, right?
Good question, actually, because it's inevitable Rice will go, but he's not going to go in January because right now we are in a relegation scrap. He's not going to go right now. We need him because he's our key player for us, and he's been doing well. But to be honest, I feel that right now, this is from my honest opinion, I don't think it's the right time for him to go. But there's a few reasons. One of it is because if you look at the state of the clubs right now, example Chelsea, they're not doing really well. Yes, they may be an attractive club, for example, like Rice, because he was released from the Chelsea's youth academy. I don't think right now is a good time for him to move because looking at how Graham Potter is with his team, and they're betting in these youngsters, and right now they're not in a pretty good state. I think if you ask me who I feel or who I prefer where Rice should go is Liverpool. Now, why Liverpool? Is because right now I think Liverpool need midfielders. They need more energetic midfielders. They need midfielders who are ball carriers because right now Liverpool's midfield is not the greatest. They don't track back. They're very slow. They don't pass the ball very well. They lose the ball easy. Clear example is against Wolves, where they kept losing the ball many times. And I think I can see Declan Rice fitting into that squad very well because, yes, right now he may be seen as a defensive midfielder, but he has the potential to become a ball-carrying midfielder because I can see him time and time again. He's got potential. He's a very good player. And I feel a move to Liverpool will be very good for him and he'll do very well there. But to move like Chelsea right now, with the state they're in, I don't think it's the right move because I see him as a report saying that he might go to Chelsea but I hope not, to be honest, but Liverpool will be good.
Yeah. But the thing is that at the moment, right, Rice has been linked to Chelsea, for such a long time, since last season, right, for about £100 million, right? Who's going to pay £100 million for him? Liverpool's not going to pay £100 million for Rice, right? If they're going to pay £100 million for Rice, they must all just pay for Jude Bellingham because I think that's what Liverpool is hanging out for. They're hanging out for Jude Bellingham to go to Liverpool, right? But of course, now Real Madrid is involved in that tussle, so let's see what happens there. But what other clubs do you think will pay the kind of money, right, for Rice? I don't think any other club, right, will pay the kind of money for Rice for £100 million, Keshav.
Well, I think City would be one of them. I think that's the obvious answer to that. They got the money, and you see Newcastle having the money also, so they're also looking like an attractive club with the position they're in. So it's tough, because I to be honest, I don't want Rice to go because he's very pivotal to us, and if we lose him, it's to be honest like a jigsaw puzzle. If you lose one piece of the puzzle, then all the others fall together. So if you lose Rice in that in that part of the squad or part of the team, then it's going to be difficult for us to see who's going to replace him. But we got Suchak in there, who, to be honest, is not doing very well, and we've got Flynn Downs who we bought from the championship, who I don't think we'll be giving him a chance. Sometimes we slot Paqueta in there, sometimes we slot Fornals in there, but we'll see. It's going to be difficult, but right now, with us being in this position, I don't think he's going to go for 100 million. I think probably be 85 to 90. That'll be the sort of right price for us. But we'll see how it goes. But I see Newcastle as being one of them.
Newcastle, Man City. Unless you're talking about M City giving you Calvin Phillips as a swap plus cash for Rice, that's one thing I see, right? But Newcastle outright buying Rice, there's a big possibility there. But of course, Bob Spurs says here, right? Bobby, right? FA Cup has not only been not the only to be a target, right? But realistically target, right? However, we all know that strengthening is required. It's crunch time, and hopefully in the later rounds we'll need depth. Yeah. Of course, we need depth. Bobby, our squad sucks all the time, so yeah, of course we need depth, right? But for Money, since Money might have to leave soon for some work and all that, let Money. Okay, the FA Cup for you guys this season, Money. You play Oxford away, right? Later on in this, what time is it? 8. Is it evening match, right? 8 p.m. in the UK, right?
Yeah, 8 p.m. GMT.
Yeah. Do you think Arteta will go all out to try to win the FA Cup this season, or more focus onto his Premier League ambitions?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, in the seasons in which he's managed, ever since winning that FA Cup with Unai Emery's team, and then starting the process of dismantling that team by getting rid of the future World Cup winning goalkeeper, a decision which I absolutely hated, his record in the FA Cup has been absolutely abysmal. And it's very easy to say, we've got bigger fish to fry, but many of us, including yourselves and almost every other fan, will tell you that a trophy is a trophy, no matter how diminished it may be. And the FA Cup still holds a lot of happy memories for Arsenal fans, and even Tottenham fans, I know, will have many of their great memories of the FA Cup. So when it comes to this game against Oxford United, this is going to be an opportunity for, obviously, the squad players to get some games. I expect the likes of Ramsdale and others to be dropped, and certainly for the likes of Kieran Tierney, this is going to be a chance for him to at least prove that he still has a role to play. The only problem is, although he is an absolutely classic old school defender, he probably might not suit the style that Arteta wants to play, which is why Zinchenko and even Tomiyasu, of all people, have gotten the nod over him in recent games. So this is going to be a test, and we need to approach this match with a great deal of respect, because, as I said earlier, we've seen Newcastle hole out to Sheffield Wednesday. Aston Villa also lost out to Stevenage. And it just goes to show that in many ways, a lot of the big clubs don't seem to value the FA Cup that much anymore. But this has to be, this cannot be a free hit in any way. And unless we put in a good performance, questions are going to be asked of our bench strength, and certainly of the bottle that Arteta has. Because we can't simply judge him by, the sudden, purple patch of form that he's had in the Premiership so far and say, he is a super manager who knows exactly what we need. I mean, if he knows exactly what we need, we'd have a better squad right now. But this is something which a match will obviously be quite important for him, and it will be interesting to see if he takes it seriously. And of course, the prize awaiting us in the next round will be a clash with Manchester City, who completely tore Chelsea to shreds in the first half over the weekend. So again, this is going to be a real test of Arteta's credentials to see if he can certainly take this game seriously, because the best managers don't consider free hits. They always look to try and get everything done as well as they possibly can, and try and compete as well as they can on different fronts for different competitions. No excuses. So tonight will be key. I mean, maybe not key so much, but tonight will be interesting to see what sort of team selection he applies and how they play, and what sort of respect he gives to the opposition. He can't give them too much respect, but he obviously cannot, be complacent.
But Manny, just a question there, right? Knowing your opponent in the next round so early, it's going to be Manchester City, right? Would you think Arteta would just say, let's forego this and not let's meet M City in the 4th round and get smashed by them and dent our confidence in the run to the Premier League Championship?
Oh, believe me, Eugene, if he does that, he will be in for a hiding, let me tell you. Because, you know, he's obviously enjoyed a lot of the good press which has come towards him this season in light of the way his team have played so far. But this is also going to be a test to see if he can, you know, really show that stomach for it. One of the biggest criticisms of our team under Arsene Wenger during the a few seasons where we would be top of the league by Christmas and beyond, only to have a steep drop-off and finish the season barely in the Champions League places, that we simply didn't have the bottle for a fight. And we've shown some bottle in games where it was expected that we would have some tough games. But to suddenly just decide to effectively, you know, throw the game because you don't want to face Manchester City in the next round, that is going to be, you know, an attack on his pride. He may decide to brush it off by saying, look, we've got bigger fish to fry. But sometimes small fish can taste very delicious indeed. So
That's true.
If Arteta decides to say, you know what, this doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, we've got bigger fish to fry, then he will definitely get some criticism, and it will be well deserved. And you only need to take a look at his predecessor, Unai Emery, and his reaction after his team lost to League Two opposition in the last 2 minutes of their game. It was just it was catastrophic, as it was as catastrophic as it was unbelievable. And obviously he made it clear that he was very disappointed because he wanted to, in fact, win. And of course, had they beaten Stevenage, they would have come up against Stoke City in the next round. So he wouldn't have cared who the opposition were in the next round. He would have wanted to win. And now with Aston Villa out of both cups, maybe in some cases he has to try and rebuild the team. So maybe he will look to that as an opportunity to make sure they focus on the league position and try and get higher than they are. Maybe have a push for Europe via the league position. But there's no way that he would be happy with that loss. He never wanted to. The team he put out was missing a few star players, but he wanted to win that game. And I'm sure that he would never make any excuses saying that it wasn't you know, a match worth playing and he had bigger fish to fry, because look, he wanted to have an FA Cup run. He did. Yeah. He enjoys these cups.
Emery is the one manager we know, right? He loves the cups, right? He's won like the Europa Cup 3 or 4 times in a row. that's what his CV have, right? And Jamie, my co-host, right? If you want to join, you can join Jamie, right? It's up to you, right? If you're free, join us, right? And of course, what Bobby's saying here, right? I played FIFA earlier and had a friendly as an Oxford v Arsenal earlier, right? Oxford won 3-1. As the great Gabriel once sang, dreams can come true. Yep, it's true, right? But of course, before Manny leaves, right? We have to have at least a short talk on this, Manny, the North London derby, right? Let me go to Ian first before we go to Alan, because Alan will be at the North London derby in person this Sunday, right? So let's get to Ian. Ian, this North London derby, you're not leaving Scotland, right? You're still.
I can't go. No, so I'll be watching it. I'll be watching on TV.
My leg's dry.
Yep, your leg's gonna be dry. Yeah, no more beer on your leg. This North London derby. But let me get to the Spurs side first, right? Ian, I get to Ian first. Ian, North London derby coming up. What do you think is going to happen mostly?
I don't know. I don't know. I think a couple of weeks ago we were all absolutely dreading what might happen after drawing with Brentford, which on reflection probably wasn't that bad a result, just the first half performance. And then, of course, the abject performance against us, against Aston Villa, that was just so bad. But then, you know, you come back. I thought we played okay on Saturday, nothing special, but we played okay. But of course, the win away at Crystal Palace was a big win and a big confidence bringer. I think it will be tight, but at least I'm going into that game now thinking we can win it, which you know, a week and a half ago I thought there's no way we can win it. I'll go. I suspect it might finish in a draw, but it's a big game, and as I don't agree with Manny on the Arsenal thing tonight. I do think you've got bigger fish to fry, and in particular with the league. I know you're no longer in the, or you weren't. You're not in. Are you in Europe? Are you still in the Europa League?
UEFA.
We are.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, of course you are. I think that's a very winnable competition, and certainly when you look at who's left, Man United or Barcelona will go out and stuff like that. So even if you won tonight, it's away at Manchester City, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, away.
To be honest with you, if I were Arteta, I'd be playing a reserve side tonight. If you get through, fine. If you don't, I would not be. Luke, the League Cup you're not in, but you are in the Europa League.
We are not in the League Cup too.
And I think Arsenal have a really good chance of winning this league. I mean, there is a view in the game as well that Manchester City are really hung up now on winning the Champions League. That's the one piece of the jigsaw that hasn't come to fruition for them, and that would be the big target this year, rather than winning the league if they had a choice. So that possibly gives Arsenal a really good go at the league, and if they win on Sunday, I think it would be very, very hard to bet against them. So again, I say I would be if I were Arteta, I'd be playing a weak side this time, and probably a weak side at Manchester City, assuming you won this, and really going all out for the league points and giving it a good run in the Europa League. I think that's actually enough. The danger is if you go for this as well, that you end up caught between three stools and win nothing. That's always the danger when clubs go for too many competitions. But I suspect I'll go with a 2-2 draw on Sunday. I don't think that will be too bad a result for either team, but I would love to see us win it.
Of course we will. And Alan will be there live in the stadium, right? And how would you feel about the North London derby at the moment?
I feel gut-wrenching from the minute it's announced. So like I have, I've had since August to get myself ready for this one, I'm looking forward to the game. Looking forward to meeting a few people as well. As I say, small possibility of meeting Bobby on the day, Bobby K. So that's what I'm looking for, and meeting the boys. But the game itself, again, after Villa, I really thought, oh well, do I really want to be going? I'm not saying the Crystal Palace result changed my mind, but just for the fact that we could have 2 or 3 players back for that game, and depending on the crowd, I mean, if we were anything like we were last season, from the minute we got in that stadium to the minute we scored the first goal, then Arsenal will shit themselves. Mind my French, but they will shit themselves, because that's what they've done last year. That crowd was the decider. And to be honest with you,
had to be there, Alan, didn't you? You had to be there to know how loud that ground was.
And to be honest with you, not being funny, Eugene, but because that is, you hear it on TV, but that place was rocking. That place was absolutely rocking. And it's so annoying why it takes an Arsenal match for it to rock. Why can't it rock a little bit, But we all the answer to that. One man himself won't won't make us a winning team. So. Yeah.
And of course, from my point of view, right, at the moment, like what Scott M says, right, we need to, we are going to need a lot of good news on the injuries front, right? We need to get the results. Hard to see even a draw without Bentancur and Kulu. Yeah, that's the thing, see. Once we don't have Bentancur and we don't have Kulu, big up, Scotty. Good morning. Good morning to you in Canada, right? Like what I've been trying to tell Manny, like Manny, remember when we were more or less quite new meeting up, we did the first North London derby when it was in the Emirates, right? I always keep saying it. You win one, we win one, right? It's a settled deal, right? We just take 3 points each instead of sharing the 1 point, which doesn't help us much in the league. But at the moment now, with the form that Arsenal is in and the form that the Spurs are in, right? So that where we are in at the moment, the cards, the trump cards are more on your side at the moment. And being Spurs fan, a lot of Spurs fans have been saying last season when before you came to the stadium, the players, we were so up for it, right? The fans in the stadium became the 12th man, right? And we, of course, you had a red card to Rob Holding, right?
Yep.
Before we went on and ramped you up, went on a rampage for 3-0 game, right? Big up Catman Jazz, big up, right? At the moment, as it's standing, you are top of the league, and you guys are playing the pretty football. But like what we've seen, our squad depth isn't too great, but your squad depth doesn't look too fine too. Because we actually thought that when the January transfer window opened with Jesus being injured, you guys would quickly get in a striker to cover that position. But you guys haven't done that. So you're coming to Spurs like, lack of a striker, outright striker at the moment. And like you said, you have to depend on Nketiah. That might not become the best option for you guys. But based on form, right, you have the second best defense in the league, right? But of course, it's a North London derby. A lot of people say form goes out the window, right? It depends on the day. But for me, of course, I want Spurs to win convincingly and all that. But we've seen how we play, right? And if we could come out and play, I guess, consistently like what we did in the Crystal Palace game, then maybe we could have put out a fight, right? But during our home games this season, especially after the World Cup, we've looked a bit lethargic at home. That's the weird part, especially against Aston Villa and especially against Portsmouth, right? We had Kane and Son right up front, but we never even got out of second gear against that team. So, but we still won, right? Going through to the next round of the cup, right? But for this North London derby, Manny, what do you think your chances are of actually getting all 3 points?
Well, I'm not going to completely talk down the team because, as you say, I mean, we have played some good football, and I will give Arteta some credit for sort of having his finger on the pulse tactically when it comes to setting up a team. And, of course, an example was how he was able to bring in Tomiyasu at left back against Liverpool so that the threat of Mohamed Salah could be stifled. The only issue I had with that afterwards is that Arteta thought he was just so clever. He thought he had found a solution and kept playing Tommy at left back. In subsequent games, he looked like a duck out of water. When it comes to playing at White Hart Lane, the Tottenham Stadium, not White Hart Lane. Obviously, I have to make sure my history is up to date. My bad. When it comes to playing at the Tottenham Stadium, I think Arteta will have to sort of be tactically on his game again. He will have to make sure that he completely studies the Spurs squad, which might not have that much in terms of depth as you would say, Eugene, but will certainly be committed. And it'll remain to be seen what sort of system he employs. There are quite a few players who were performing well, but who have started to show a little bit of cracks in their game. I am calling out William Saliba, who has looked a little bit sloppy on 1 or 2 occasions, but credit to him, he has been able to recover. And of course, we are still quite dependent on Thomas Partey running the show from the centre of midfield. Odegaard has been able to do well in the past few games, but this is going to be another big test for him. How he will do in a heated North London derby will remain to be seen. And of course, we will be expecting a lot from the likes of Gabriel Martinelli up front. And Nketiah also will be expected to score. But one thing which Spurs have, of course, is that level of motivation. And I will say this, credit to you lot. Even if there might be a stage in the season where you're not doing as well as we are, you always find a way to have our number on your home turf. So I wouldn't put it beyond you guys to surprise us, but I just think on form, we should be able to nick the win, but it will be a tight win. And as a sidebar, to all of these Arsenal/England YouTubers who were going on a rampage after England's exit, saying Harry Kane's a bottle job, what a disgrace he is. He's never faced any pressure situations. What a disgrace he is to the country. If Harry Kane were to score the winner against us and sink us, I want to see all you shameless cretins publicly eat humble pie. Some of you don't even like international football. Some of you don't even couldn't care less about England, and you have the nerve to slate Harry Kane, England's record goal scorer. Look at yourselves in the mirror. Yeah, look at yourselves in the mirror.
Sorry, go on, Manny. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's all right. I mean, I'm just coming to the conclusion. It's a case of, Kane's that sort of a person who, if he gets that level of criticism, it will spur him on. And nothing really will spur him on like a North London derby where the Arsenal fans are going to be at him for his penalty miss, calling him a bottle job. If he were to score against us, he'd shut our fans up, and we would deserve that. Ian, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, what I was going to say was, I don't go with this, he's a bottle job and what have you. I suspect he got a little bit psyched with Lloris in goal and the mind games, where is he going to put it? Where is he not? With the first penalty, for example, Lloris knows full well that Kane's first choice penalty is the one to Kane's left, the goalkeeper's right, and I think he did the same. If you remember the penalty he scored against Ramsdale, he went the other way, and I got a feeling that Lloris got psyched and thought he knows it. He knows where I'm going to put it left, so he's going to put it to the right. Lloris's left, and Lloris went left, and Kane took his perfect penalty. With the second one, I just think he didn't know which way to go, and that's why he went for power and he bloomed it. I think, interestingly enough, Kane has only missed one other. No, he missed one at Forest. Missed one other penalty where he had two penalties in the game, and I think that was, if I remember, it was against Frankfurt, and he bloomed that over the bar as well. So there's maybe a moral in that. What I would say, I'm not going with Kane's a bottle job. I mean, you can't score the number of goals that he scored in Europe, domestically, internationally, and say you're not an absolutely outstanding footballer. My criticism of Kane would be in the really, really big games, and I'm talking about cup semi-finals, cup finals, he's never really done it. He's never really performed at the very, very, if you look at the Euro final, was it last year ago, or the year before against Italy? Again, he didn't really deliver in that game. Couple of big games for us, he's not delivered. That would be my criticism of Kane. At the very, very top level games, not top level of football, but top games, he's not managed to deliver, and that would be my one criticism of him. But would I let him go? Would I want him sold out of the club or anything? Never in a million years. And I think he puts the fear of God into Arsenal. He scored some fabulous goals against you guys. Absolutely fabulous goals.
That's true. Yeah, Kane is the record top scorer against in the North London derby at the moment.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And big up to Eva, man. Big up. Hope you're feeling better, because the last week we heard that you were just you caught COVID. So hope you're feeling better now, Eva man. Eva man's from Hong Kong. Big fan of the channel, right? And now, since all of the other clubs is talking about the North London derby, let's get Keshaf's opinion, right? I'm not sure whether you care about the North London derby, Keshaf, right? But of course, it's good to get a neutral point of view on the North London derby, right? For you guys, I'm sure you know about it, right? You hear about it. Sometimes I'm sure you will watch it too, right? Right, to see what happens, right? What do you think about this season, about the North London derby?
Okay, let's go to Arsenal first. Arsenal have been doing very well. I'm very impressed with the way they've been playing. I think 2 seasons ago, Arsenal fans, or I don't know, 1.5 seasons ago, Arsenal fans have been calling off Arteta to be sacked, but that didn't happen. And look what he's done for them. You have to give praise to how Arteta has rebuild the squad, rebuild the team. You know, they've got some very good players like Martinelli and Saka and Odegaard. You know, and don't get this is a very good Arsenal team. You know, they've got some attacking players who can press the ball very well, who have abundance of pace. And example, I can give a clear example. When I was watching the West Ham game against Arsenal, they played very well. 100% committed. They pressed well together as a team. They knew when West Ham were lackluster and were scared to pass the ball. All these things make Arsenal what they are. And to be honest, I enjoy the way they've been playing. It's sad to say the fact of that, but I enjoy how they've been playing, and that's how I want my team to play. But what I feel from Arsenal fans, I feel with the let's say Europa League coming up, and and they may get tired, and they may slip up. It can happen, but you need to have experience in that side, and I do feel that Arsenal don't not have that much experience in terms of leaders in the squad. The only leader I can probably see is Shaka in there, but other than that, not really. But
Partey is a good leader too, right?
I'll probably say so. But I think they need someone like someone vocal, someone that can rally the team, and I think maybe when the season comes along and it goes through, I think they may drop a few points, but I think if you honestly ask me, I think they probably finish at least, I would say right now, third. I don't think they're going to win the title. I think probably at least Man City will win it. Maybe I can't see Arsenal winning it, because I think Arsenal do need that experience. Don't get me wrong, they're doing very well at the moment, but if you see Premier League teams across the past few seasons, anything can happen. So we cannot judge it by saying Arsenal will win the league or they're doing well. Anything can happen. So, but honestly, right now, credit to them. They'll be playing very well. Regards to Spurs, I have to say there's a lot of protest coming along with Spurs fans. I think it seems like Conte, you want Conte out, and it's not been a good mood right now at the Tottenham ground. But don't get me wrong, I feel Tottenham's way of playing has not brought them the results they wanted. I feel the way they are playing is similar to how we want to play: sit back and counter. And I think sometimes when Conte keeps playing the way he's playing, five at the back, soak up the pressure and go on to the counter. And sometimes it doesn't work as much as it can. That means, teams will also do the same thing: sit back and hope for a draw. And if you keep doing the same tactic again and again, it's not going to work. You need to be innovative, and that's why I feel, yes, even though Tottenham rallied their way through against Palace, this game is of huge importance, because Arsenal are going to press on Spurs. They're going to do that. They're going to give them some problems. They're going to, they're going to really attack the defense. And I think Tottenham fans should be a little bit nervous, because Arsenal are in good form right now. But I'm very sure it's going to be a good game. I think on my prediction, probably I'm going to go for a draw. I would say 2-2.
Oh, everyone's going for 2-2, right? Before Manny hops off, Manny, any score predictions from you?
Yeah, for me, it's going to be it should be a tight win for Arsenal. I've said it. It'll probably end up being a 2-1 win. And further to what Keshav has said, it's that stubborn sticking to the counter-attacking principles that actually cost Conte when they came to the Emirates, because again, for the most part, they simply failed to offer anything in terms of the offense. And I think the match probably was already decided as a contest even before Emerson Royale got sent off that day. And I'm pretty certain. I know, Eugene, you're not a big fan of Emerson Royale. You consider him to be a royale waste of time in that squad. But I think one thing for which I can credit Conte is that whenever Tottenham have suffered a loss, they've almost always been able to bounce back. You've never seen them go on a poor run of form. So I think he'll have his side sufficiently motivated. But Arsenal to win 2-1 for me. It should be just a case of doing the business and doing what we need to do, which is exactly what Leicester did in 2016. We need to adopt that mentality too, because as Lenny Kravitz famously sang, "It ain't over till it's over."
That's true. That's true. But of course, I got one more last question for Manny, right? If we do actually beat you guys, right, do you think that will be the start of your downfall?
That's a good question.
Maybe not so much the start of the downfall, but it will obviously start to, put some cracks into the idea that we could win the league, because it's how we perform against the big teams and our big rivals that count. And let's not forget, in addition to the prospect of playing City in the FA Cup, should we win our match today against Oxford, we haven't yet played City in the league. And as poor as they've been playing in a few games, many of these teams have a nasty habit of raising their game against us. So that is another reason why we cannot, look too far ahead. We cannot assume that things will be the way we hope they will be. It's one match at a time, not over till it's over. That's what Leicester did in 2016. That's the approach their fans adopted, and then they obviously adopted their wants and needs to the situation then, because of course the season before it was a case of avoiding relegation, and then obviously that dream season which they'll never forget. So that's the approach we have to adopt, and hopefully we will do some good business in the transfer window. We will take more of these games seriously. We'll see what happens in the FA Cup, obviously, and if we can overcome Manchester City there, then that could give us some confidence. So I say, obviously, Ian was talking about having too many fingers and too many pies, and there'd always be a bit of a problem. But I say, this is a part of the challenge. If you really want to get some respect as a team, then you've got to give yourselves a challenge of trying to do a lot more. And that's one of the reasons why we see Liverpool and Manchester City going for quadruples every season. And whether or not they succeed, even if they don't succeed, at least you can't say they haven't given it a bloody good go, because believe me, they have.
That's good. That's good, right? Manny, before you hop off and do what you got to do, right? Any shows that will be going on later?
Yeah, I should be doing a watch along for the first half with Stephen Featley for the FA Cup game, and then I also want to shout out Up the Cherries in All Departments, which is a Bournemouth-based fan channel. I've been doing a lot of shows with them. We'll be doing a cherry picking show talking about Bournemouth struggles and possible managerial candidates.
All right, that's good. That's good. And of course, we have to send our prayers and love to Stephen, right? He's not feeling too well lately, so yeah. Let's hope he'll be getting home soon. Right, so all right, Manny. I'll catch up with you most probably if you'll be joining me on the watch along on Sunday, right? Let's see how that goes about, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll catch up with you, right? Take care.
Okay, gentlemen. Good to see you all.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Good to see you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Come on,
Thank you all very much indeed. Thank you all very much indeed.
Unfortunately, Eugene, I've only got about another 10 minutes myself because dinner's coming up soon.
Okay. No problem. All right. But of course, since Manny is gone, so it's just the four of us at the moment, right? Why don't we just dabble a bit about our transfer window prospects? Whenever I say, as a Spurs fan, right? Whenever I say that, right, it's like, okay.
What about our investment possibility, Eugene?
Investment about what?
until I see that written in stone, I'm not believing it, Ian. So
no.
You mean about the QSI? Come on, that's BS all the way, right? Come on. I'm not sure whether Keshaf has heard this. The Qatari investment?
What's investment is it? Yes, I've heard of it. Yes.
They're looking into buying a minority shares into Tottenham Hotspur. But to tell the truth, right, when that word minority came out, because like I'm sure Ian, you understand, right? Minority still could be 40%. You are still considered minority, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, if they actually do invest, they're going to be investing. They're going to be buying possibly shares off of ENIC. Then that is where ENIC are going to be saying, "Thank you. That's part of the profit we are definitely taking." So we won't see nothing from it unless they come up with a naming right. Come up with a naming right still that's going to write.
Don't worry, Ian. Don't worry.
Yeah.
If the Qataris do come in as a minority shareholders, right? Let's say it's 40%, 20%, they might buy out the existing. There are a group of people who actually hold shares in Spurs, about up to 14.5%, right? And I guess it's getting diluted again because Spurs pump in another 100 million into the company recently, right? Where remember we had a 150 million war chest that time. That story that went around, right? But the thing is that if they do come in, whether they buy out, I think most probably it will be either Joe Lewis's shares or whether Levy's cashing out. Hopefully he is, because he holds about 30% of ENIC, right? And the 70% is held by the Lewis family, which is that from that 70%, 50% has been put into trust, right? So we do not know the formation of the trust holders of that 50% at the moment. So that makes it a bit of a blur there that us fans do not know, because our club never comes out and explain things to us. They always keep the fans at the blur and let us guess what's happening, right? But if they do come in, right, I think it's just like a small stepping stone. You buy it in a bit and a bit and a bit. It's the same thing when ENIC first came into Spurs, when they started to buy a bit of shares from Sugar, right? A bit. They took it over a bit and a bit and a bit. In the end, they took over the majority of Sugar shares. They became the major shareholders. So, and of course, after that, I think before that we were public listed, right, Ian, under the Sugar era, were we?
It was. We floated before that. It was when it was Irvin Scholar.
Yeah.
Irvin Scholar that took it public, and then I think that Sugar took it back. And if it wasn't Sugar that took it back, it was certainly ENIC that took it back. But I mean, you've raised a lot of points here. And the fundamental one is, you're right, we don't really know because of the lack of transparency. And one thing, I mean, I agree with just about everybody else in the Spurs camp, is the inability to communicate with supporters as to what they're doing, what the game plan is. You don't have to give away business secrets to do that. The other aspect that you raise, and I think that's fundamental as well, is the Lewis family. Now, you're absolutely right that they put some of the shares into a trust, but Lewis isn't a young man, so you would have to plan in any business for the end of Joe Lewis's life, because he's well into his 80s now. So
what I've heard, I mean, if anything was to happen to Lewis, then there's a very good chance that Levy would be gone the day after, because Lewis's daughter Vivian is actually interested in football.
Yeah, well, that was the point I was going to come on to. I don't know about Levy going the next day, but certainly there would be every possibility that. I mean, I think if you got a good point here, because of course, if there was no interest in any other member of the Lewis family in football, I think they would have divested some time ago in some shape or form. Because as well, there's got to be the issue of inheritance tax and what have you that they would have to be considering. The other aspect, of course, though, is this minority stake. And how that works for us and how that works for the QSI. Now, Eugene, again, you make a really important point that, let's say that I was 40, it could be 40%. I was thinking between 25 and 33, but one way or the other, say between 25 and 40. If they just say bought 40% of the shares from ENIC, that money goes to Lewis, it goes to Levy and any other shareholders that they buy, and there's no new money. So that's of absolutely no use to us whatsoever as supporters. However, what they can do is create new shares. Now, that might mean that, of course, that there's some dilution. But if there was, for example, let's say we're talking 40%, but they bought 20% of the shares from ENIC. So that allows ENIC to take their money. I've actually got no objection to that. It is a business, fine. They're entitled to run it as a business. But 20% was new shareholdings, depending upon how that diluted ENIC and how that worked. That would present potential for 20% of new funding, or give or take £500-600 million. of new funding into the club, whether to pay off some of the debt, and put more money, proper money into the transfer fund. And that's why I raise this now, because the transfer thing is obviously there. Then it could work for us. I'm not wild keen on the Qataris for the reasons I said at the World Cup, and I don't think we need to repeat them. They're well, they've been well rehearsed. But I've never been a pro Levy, pro ENIC person to the point where I wouldn't be happy if we got other investors or better investors, and certainly people that, one, were prepared to be transparent, and secondly, were prepared to put better investment into the team, because it doesn't always take a lot. Arsenal were fifth last year, and as a club looked to be going nowhere, and half the supporters wanted him out. You may have been on it with me. I was on Stephen's show saying, I think Arteta's a good coach, and I think you should stick with him. But that wasn't a popular opinion amongst a lot of Arsenal supporters. Now, they could win the league. So it doesn't necessarily take £500 million to build a title-winning side if you've got the right players in the right places. And I think we're probably only 3 or 4 away. I still think, I don't know if Scott's still on, but we certainly need a couple more central defenders. We need to sort this right wing-back position and probably another quality forward. I know people talk about a playmaker in midfield, but he's not going to buy a playmaker for midfield. He plays 2, he's got 4 there at the moment. He's got Bentancur and Højbjerg. Sarr's been an absolute revelation. And he's got...
I like him.
He just makes the game. He just does the simple things so well. I love him. I
watched him quite a bit on Saturday. I mean, so I literally just kind of watched him, even though the ball might be anywhere near him.
Yeah.
And he looks a very intelligent little player.
That's the word.
It's very hard to say this, but it could be this Tottenham's answer to Konate.
It could be what? Sorry, Al?
Is it the one that played at Chelsea that was at Leicester at the time? Konate.
Yeah. I think he's a very intelligent player, and he looks like he's reading the game constantly.
Yeah.
And you could have seen it better from the stadium than I can watch it on television. I think he could be the dog's bollocks as a player, absolutely. But as I say, I think we're only 4 away. I don't think you're right. We'll need a new goalkeeper as well, but we're only 4 players away from, I think, really challenging at the top.
Well, challenging. I think what we got. If you look at Arsenal now, right, what is carrying them at the moment? This is what I feel that's carrying them at the moment is they've got a togetherness. They've got the youth.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when we was playing with Poch, we had that togetherness and we had that youth. But unfortunately, we just had 2 teams, one or 2 teams always above us that would just go that extra mile to stay above us. At the moment, Arsenal have hit strides a bit like Leicester.
Yeah.
But they've got that youth and togetherness, and to be honest with you, that's a big thing, You say we're 4 players away, but we're 4 players away from possibly having a good season.
Yeah. But what Scott says, right?
We're back to being old here, there, and everywhere else. We've got to try and find a way. We built one of the biggest and best training complexes.
Mm.
But where are these players coming through from it? Because with 4 years in the new stadium now, we've had 4 years now in the new stadium nearly. But we've had, I think that was another 4 years earlier, wasn't it? So that's 8 years. Where is this development coming from?
Let's take a step back. If you look at the team, Romero's only 23, and so is Royale. Sessegnon, it's been around forever, but he's only a 21 or 22. Bentancur is he 22?
I think he's 25. I think.
Is he as old as that? Sarr is just turned 20.
19,
Kulusevski's a very early 20s as well.
22.
Gil is just 14 or 15. I know I'm exaggerating. So we do have plenty of youth. I think the problem is, you're right, it's not coming from the training ground, but we do have plenty of youth.
Yeah.
And of course, Spence, I wish he'd give Spence a game. I mean, I don't think, one of the things, Scott and I, are we disagree on a number of things, but I don't think we're far away there. I would certainly like two top bet. Dyer has gone right off. Davis doesn't do much wrong. I don't think Langley's any upgrade on Davis for my money. You disagree?
Langley's alone.
To be honest with you, I think Davis doesn't make many mistakes. Sometimes
Davis is not good enough.
No,
Dyer is just not good enough. You're saying you need. You say we need about 3 or 4 players from being about 4 players from being able to chat.
I've got to go, gents.
All right. Yeah, Alan, have a good lunch. All right, take care.
All
right, bye.
Bye, Alan.
Cheers, Al. Good luck.
Yeah, Alan's lunch has arrived. Yeah, we don't want to see. We don't want to see his wife shouting.
No. What I was going to say.
Okay. I understand. You are saying that we are about 4 players away, right, from being a better side. That's all, right? You're not saying that we are 4 players away from winning the title. That's what I hope you're saying, right? But at least we are 4 players away now to being able to be challenging for something. Yeah, challenging for something. But the problem is that being a Spurs fan, we know during this transfer window, we never get the players that we want, because our philosophy is that we never buy players for the manager. We buy players for the club's interest. That is the sad part, because I'm not sure what the West Ham transfer policies are, right? And how your youth development has been coming through. But at least you got Declan Rice from Chelsea when he was a youngster. Yeah. And now Declan Rice is one of the hottest midfield properties in football, right? And of course, if Declan Rice left last season, he would have been at least £100 million player, but you guys didn't want to sell, right? If Chelsea put up the money, Chelsea would have gotten him back, right? But at the moment now, Chelsea is in all kinds of transition. They change owners, they've changed managers. Chelsea might take another 3 years to rebuild, right? They might have to go through another phase like what Arsenal went through, right? Stick with your manager, right? And rebuild, right? And then when 3 years later, when it comes to fruition, that's when you actually see the results, what is Arsenal's having now. But of course, if you don't have the manager of that top quality and that top mentality, you might not be able to maintain that lofty height that you are at, right? But for Spurs now, we have got Conte, right? That's the problem with Spurs. We change managers too often until that even our players are confused what they are supposed to do. That's what I see, right? And like I've been saying, we don't buy players for what our managers needs, right? And of course, what Chris Agamba is saying, we don't buy the players that need in the positions that we need to strengthen either. That's true. And then that's the other weird thing about being Spurs, right? I've seen us buy players, right, in a specific position where they are good at, and then we play them out of their position and hope that they will turn into something different. Then that is so confusing, right? If you buy a player, right, who is specifically good at doing A, right, and then you tell him to go and do B, right, what will he turn out to be? He won't be performing that well. So I guess that's the problem with that's our confusion. But let's say at the moment, as you were saying just now earlier on the QSI thing, right? I got a funny feeling if QSI does come in as a minority shareholder, the money will go directly to Levy and Enoch and Lewis. Right? And then, listen to this, guys, right? Qatar Airways will be our main sponsor.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's all kinds of scenarios here. I mean, I noticed that.
But guys, I got to put a caveat there, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe it. It's all bullshit.
Well, that's a technical term, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. But let's say at the moment now, we Spurs fans moan and groan. Keshav is a West Ham fan, right? He's gone through the West Ham ups and downs, right? And like I said, if you bring an Arsenal fan like Steven in here, right? Steven has got this mentality that he doesn't care, right? All he wants, because their fan base ambition is to win things, correct? Win trophies, win titles, and all that. The rest doesn't matter. The rest is all just BS the wrong way, right? Us Spurs fans has got this weird thing is that, right? We don't need to win trophies. Just as long we get top 4, we're happy, right? And just as long our finances come out, right? We make record profits every year, we are happy, right? Okay, I'm going to give Keshav a very weird question. Where do your fan base stand on, right? Are you guys either like Steven, or are you guys like us, or are you guys like saying, we don't mind because we have not won much of anything throughout our history? We'll just be happy at, playing Europe.
Good question. To be honest, our fan base probably wants a good run in the FA Cup or Carabao Cup and probably a top 6-7 finish. Or even for me, to be honest, I don't really have much interest in winning, to be honest. I just want my team to do well consistently or finish good positions consistently. Try and maybe win something, go to a final like what we did last season, go to a semi-final. That was great. I really enjoyed it. To be honest, not asking that much really, because West Ham fan base would just normally want a cup run in maybe getting into the semi-finals, finals, doing well in the league, maybe right consistently finishing 8th, 9th, 7th, 8th positions, and trying to qualify for Europe as much as possible really, because look, to be honest, we're not a club that is currently destined to try and win things with the squad we have. But what I just hope for is for us to be consistently a good team, consistently be a team who's passionate, hardworking, that doesn't give up and does or strives to do their best to achieve things, or do the impossible, like maybe go into a final or something. To be honest, that's all I want. I'm not hoping for winning trophies. It's not really my meaning. I just want us to have a team which is consistently doing well. To be honest, I'm not happy with the position we are in right now. Let's be fair, because I know how it feels to go up. I think it's been 6 years already. It's not easy as a West Ham supporter, but you have to go through those highs and lows. You have to know how it feels. It's not a nice feeling to be in 17th place, I know. But you have to go through it. Right now, we are in that position. But I hope to be honest, I'm just going to hope that we're going to survive. To be honest, I'm just forgetting about, just besides that, there is Europa Conference League to look forward to. But let's see let's hypothetically say we do win that, then of course that changes things. But right now, I'm just, in terms of league, I'm 100% focusing on next season already, because I think this season has just not been good for us. We just have to survive. But I do hope we do turn things around. I really do hope that. And but in terms of my ambition, is just for us to be consistently good. That's all I want. A team which is passionate and doesn't give up.
Do you want Moyes gone, Keshav?
Good question, Ian. Yes, I do. Because
it's a lot. Question: who in his place?
There's been reports saying that Sean Dyche might come in. I just saw there's a few reports saying, because it seems like he has very good links with the board. I know, to be honest, it's not an ambitious appointment. It's not a
Keshav, no. When we said Conte, right, Dyche is coming to Spurs. You're not taking him from us.
He's coming as a centre half, though, YouTube. That's the big
yeah. I understand, because I think if you guys do really fall into a relegation battle, right, I think Dyche will be the good guy to actually bring you out of that, because he's been through a lot of that. He understands what to do, right? But like Ian and Ian is slightly older than I am, right? Our age, right? We have seen what Spurs have gone through, the up and downs, right? I've understood that during the 80s, the 90s, right, and even early 2000s, right, we were more or less like the mid-level team, right? We used to be the feeder club to Manchester United. Remember, Ian, right? We sold Sheringham to MU. We sold Berbatov to MU, right? We sell Robbie Keane to Liverpool, right? We used to be the feeder club for the top teams. But of course, I understand what Levy has done, and stabilized our finances and all that. But the worst part is that what I didn't like about Levy is that he sold us a dream. right? And when you sell us a dream of reaching heights of so high, and after so many years, we are still trying to reach those heights, then the fan base becomes disillusioned. And you should know, Ian's not like me. I'm a staunch Levy outer after a couple of years of seeing after 15 years or 10 years past, seeing what our club owners has been doing, right? I really can't stand it anymore. If you don't sell us that pipe dream, right, that make the fans try to chase after it, and just tell us like what Keshoff says, right? Being where we are and we are happy what we are doing, then it's okay. Then you don't bring in the managers like Mourinho, you don't bring in the managers like Conte, and then after that, don't back them, because when you do something like that, it's so obvious that you're not telling the truth, right? If you come and tell us that, okay, right, we are lucky we got Poch, right? And Poch brought us to a level that we never ever dreamed to reach, right? And now what we're going to do, right, is we're going to go and look for another Poch and try to improve on that, you see? But instead, he went and brought in Mourinho, which pushed our fan base, a serial cup winner, has never not won a cup in a club that he's managed before. But sacking him after 6 days before a cup final, that unveiled everything. So now that's our sad part, right? But of course, that's our problem, right? But as a lot of us Spurs fans know, right, to tell the truth, this January transfer window, I've actually no excitement for it. It wasn't like the last January transfer window. We were so excited because after we sacked Nuno, Conte came in. We were hoping so much that the board will put their money where their mouth is and actually support him. But somehow or another, we got lucky in the last minute. We brought in Bentancur and we brought in Decky, right? These two players actually helped us propel us to where we were, where we ended up last season, 4th. Not to include that actually Arteta bottled it, right, along the way, right? That gave us the chance to be in top 4. And then I'm sure Ian agrees on this too. Once you reach top 4, we were thinking we will get the players that the manager wants and move to the next level. But of course, what our club did is the same thing. They pulled the wool over our eyes, did all the transfer window business early, right? Brought in Richarlison for £60 million, and we were going, oh yeah, we've got at least a cover for Son and Kane if something happens, right? But that's what that was it. After that 3 weeks of buying ding dong, then it took us another, Ian, how many more weeks? Another 3 more weeks just to chase Spence down, right? Yeah. And then we find out Spence wasn't a manager signing, it was a club signing.
Where I take issue with that, and I must be honest, I was disappointed. I remember going on Tommy's show 2 or 3 days before the transfer window ended and saying I still thought we might bring in another 3 or 4 players late on. That would be typical Levy. Particularly as I had in mind that some of the Italian clubs really needed to sell players. But the only where I would take issue on this is that none of the players we were linked with, Bastoni, Gavio, the Croatian, I can never pronounce it right. Yeah. Skriniar, De Vrij, none of them moved. Now, and I don't know if Scott's still in the room here, but one of the criticisms that comes up about Levy, and it's a justifiable one, is he's always looking for young players that will have a residual and sell-on value. And that's not actually what the top clubs do. When you look at Liverpool, they were struggling. I always think that game where we beat Liverpool 4-1 at Wembley, where Harry Kane ripped Lovren, a new backside that day. So and the goalkeeper was, I can't remember who it was now, but he was awful. So what did they do? They went out and bought Van Dijk for 85 million and the goalkeeper for 50 million, whatever they did, Alisson for 50 million. And they solved those two problems instantly. And my criticism is that that's what Levy never does. And that's where I think he might end up falling out with Conte, because Conte says, to get you to the next level, I need players that are ready now. Now, I mentioned 2 players. Both of them are a little bit older. Both of them, though, are coming to the end of their contracts, but will have no residual value. One is Skriniar, and one is De Vrij. Now, I don't know if they're persuadable to come to Tottenham. They won't be cheap in terms of wages, but they won't be expensive in terms of transfer fees. Now, if we could get them in the door, I think De Vrij's contract ends in June. We could get them in even for 20 million. You know, in
Levy
today,
won't pay it.
Hmm?
Ian, Levy will never pay 20 million.
That would be where I get frustrated. If those players are available and want to come, then that solves the middle of our defence problem and the left side of our defence problem
Immediately.
in one go. Now, that gives you a situation, and I don't know whether we'll go for Porro and Edwards. I mean, they certainly fit the mould in terms of where I think we are as a club. You've got Forster and Lloris as your goalkeepers. Your first choice. This is my dream. Your first choice central defenders are Romero, Skriniar and De Vrij, backed up by Davis. You've got Lenglet as well, but he's only on loan. Dyer and Sanchez. That's good backup. You've got in the middle of your midfield, you've got you've got Bentancur, you've got Højbjerg, you've got Sarr, and you've got Skip as your wing backs. You've got Perisic and Sessegnon. Sessegnon needs upgraded as well, by the way. But we've got the boy at Udinese, Destiny. I don't know how to pronounce his name. You've got You've got three right wing backs. You can argue he doesn't want to play Spence, but you've got three, and he wants to bring four in. So per many two. Then you've got Bentancur. You've got not Bentancur. You've got Kulusevski, Kane, Son. You've got Gill. You've got Richarlison, and then if you've got Edwards as well, you've got two good starters for every single position in the team, and that's where we're lacking, and that's my vision. I can't think Conte's too far away from that, but it's up to Levy to put that money in now in order to finance it to get us where we all want to be.
Yeah, but like you're saying, Ian, right? Yeah, but like you were saying, right? Now it comes to the sense like what Kesha was saying, right? Kesha wants Moyes out, right? Half of our fan base is turning on Conte at the moment, right? Because of the drag football he plays. Okay. But the other half says that Conte should be used as a pawn to unveil what our owners have been doing, right? Giving us false ambition or giving us no ambition, right? Yeah. For our fan base. But like maybe what a lot of us who are sitting on this side of fans don't see, like fans like what Keshav says they are, like being a West Ham fan, you don't have that. Because your owners don't sell you a pipe dream, Keshav, right? Your owners don't tell you that, this year we have to make this level, we have to win this, we have to win that. Our owners have not actually said that directly to us, right? But they have implied it indirectly, right? By saying that now the stadium is ready, it will generate us enough income, right? And the money made will be put back into the team, right? But of course, when Levy made that Death Star kind of interview in his office that time, right? He did say the money will be put back into the team, but he didn't say which team. You see, I was been saying it's not the football team; it's just the property team.
I think we've just broken the world transfer record for the women's team. We bought the top girl from Chelsea, but look, I
the women's team, right? For all we know,
the fans yell on the Conte side are pretty pissed off with the style of football. Although it was all right on Saturday against a team that just decided they were going to sit back, played exceptionally well in the second half against Palace. What I've always said is the club supporters will put up with winning football, or it will put up with quality football that you're not always winning. What you can't get away with is poor quality football when you're not winning.
I know, but Ian, why can't we have both?
Yeah, because you can have both.
Yeah, the worst part is that I don't understand our fan base. I don't understand our fan base is that why can't we demand for both? Right?
Well,
you get this or get that. And I want both, right? I want to see the quality football, the beautiful game, right? And scoring 5 goals a game, right?
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. But I mean, I'm old enough to remember when Keith Birkinshaw was the manager and the football was exquisite. I mean, the football we played under Keith Birkinshaw was just such a pleasure. It was good under Poch as well, albeit it was a pressing energy game and what have you. Yeah, of course you can have both. But my gut is that the supporters are relatively will be okay with Conte if he stays. If Conte goes, however, and he goes blaming a lack of investment, then blaming a lack of investment, then I think then it might turn very much on Levy. That's my partner just come by. You can come and say hello, by the way. No, you can make me a coffee. That was Mandy, by the way.
Mandy.
So it's Mandy. Yeah, she's the
Hi,
better
Mandy.
looking one of the two. It wasn't bad under Redknapp. No, that's true, Alan. That is true as well.
Don't forget, Redknapp had Bale, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Redknapp had Bale.
Redknapp had Bale, and of course he was at his best under Andres Villas-Boas. That was where I think I can remember him scoring the winning goal very late at Upton Park. Big goal at Upton Park. No, but I do think if we lose Conte because of lack of investment, then there is. I think the fans will turn on Levy. At the moment, it is a very small minority group, which is disproportionately represented online.
That's true.
Which is fine. I mean, that's fine. You know,
no matter what, you have to build somewhere, right? Somehow or another, everything has to start somewhere and start from somewhere. Yeah. Absolutely. But at the moment now, that's what I'm saying. If we compare ourselves with West Ham fans, right? Yeah. Of course, yeah. Then you were saying, you know, there's such a big disparity between the both fan base. But let's say if Keshav now, Keshav, sorry to say this, right? Since Gold has passed away, right? Who has taken over as your chairman now? Have you announced anything at the club? You're muted, Keshav.
Oh, he's muted.
Sorry about that. Since David Gold passed away before the Leeds game, very sad to hear him regarding this. He was a very passionate chairman. Very kind chairman. He went to every football match for West Ham. He didn't invest so much with David Sullivan, but I know that he wasn't good in terms of getting transfers done, and in terms of the relationship with West Ham fans wasn't that good. But in terms of his passion for the club was there. He was there. He was very kind-hearted, and you know he showed a lot of good qualities. Is what he wanted from a chairman. Very dedicated to the football club. So I thank him for that. And may he rest in peace.
You're getting away with that.
But in terms of regarding our status of chairman, we do have David Sullivan on board.
Ellie.
Hi, Ellie.
Ellie, hi.
This man is brilliant. He'll be online now, won't he?
Yeah. Ben is on it. It shows on it. Yeah. And I'm saying now, since Gold has passed away, has your club come up with a statement that who is going to take over? Is it Sullivan going to take over as chairman now, or are you going to?
We do have few owners on board. There's David Sullivan, who owns, I think, if not mistaken, 30-something% of the club. We do have the Daniel Kristinsky, who came in last January. He came from Slavia Prague. He owns also a minority stake of the club. And also, it seems that the shares of David Gold's stake of the club has gone to his two daughters, I think, who are also very passionate West Ham supporters. So we'll see how that goes. But I think it's likely they might take the shares. David Gold's daughters. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's maybe 15% each, if I'm not mistaken. But there's 100% no takeover happening. That's not going to happen. But that's the case of it. His daughters might take over the stakes of the club.
Yeah. So at the moment now, that means after all this has happened in your club, right? I guess since you drew with Leeds and beat Brentford, so Moyes has just got an extension on his in his job, right?
Yeah.
What's your next game coming up?
We're playing Wolves actually, and to be honest, it's not going to be an easy game.
Not gonna be
I
easy.
got no confidence with that, to be honest. I got no optimism, despite us being in this position, because I watched.
Are you playing home or away?
We're playing away. We're playing
You're
away.
playing away. No, it's not gonna be easy. Wolves is not an easy game away.
Because they drew against
You
Liverpool.
know, right? Yeah.
You know, you're talking about Sean Dyche earlier, and I've heard him linked with Everton. I mean, I can see it's going to be it's almost a race to the bottom now. But to see who presses the panic button first, you or Everton, and Dyche goes to the I can just someone's going to press that panic button.
Dyche is becoming a hot topic now, right? Everybody wants to see him. Well, you never know. Right. Big up. Thanks to you guys who coming over from Ben Kaufman's coffee company, right? Big up to you guys, right? Big up, smash a like, subscribe. You haven't subscribed yet. Guys, we won't be going on too long. It's 1.5 hours been doing this show. We had a lot of panelists on earlier, right? Of course, Mani from Arsenal, Nippon from Chelsea. And if you want to talk about you're okay, Ian?
Yeah, I'm not. It was the coffee cup I knocked.
Okay, coffee cup. Right.
But it's fine.
Yeah. Because as you see, fans from, of course, Spurs and West Ham here now at the moment, right? We look back and we are looking at Chelsea now, right? Change of owner, change of managers, right? And their injury list is as long as, I don't know what to say, right? It's 2 times worse than us, right? Even if do you have any bad injuries at the moment, Kesha?
We have Skamaka out injured. I think that's not for long.
Okay.
He maybe should be back for Wolves, and then we have Areola who suffered a groin injury. I'm not sure about that. And also we have Kurt Zuma who's also out. I think that's all. I think not that many injuries.
But you're not talking about really key injuries like what we have, right? We've got injuries so key that these three main players out, right? It's actually just more or less decimated our attacking creativity. You get what I'm saying? And then you put it to the sense of like what Chelsea has, right? Chelsea has just been decimated left, right, center.
Yeah.
They've been smacked all over the place, right? But at the moment now we are moving into the transfer window where at least Chelsea, we see they are buying players at the moment, right? For being a Spurs fan, being a West Ham fan, we are just sitting here waiting every day, right? And to tell the truth, not getting excited much about anything that's happening. You get what I'm saying? Even Liverpool has bought Cody Gakpo, right? Yeah, and snatched them under the nose of Manchester United, right? So Manchester United, that's at the moment now, it's like they need to go and look for another attacking player, right? Because they've lost Ronaldo. So during this transfer window, what has been happening is that I'm sure Ian knows, right? January transfer window for Spurs is a very difficult thing. It's hard to do. Spurs has always come out and said that, right? But like what we all know, if you put the money on the table, right, the players will come. Simple as that. You don't put the money on the table, who's going to come? No one's going to come. That's how I see it, right? But at the moment now, for you guys, you'll be playing Wolves. Wolves have, I think, got their new manager bounce on because they've just brought in Lopetegui. Right, and Lopetegui was actually the ex-Sevilla manager, if I'm not mistaken, before they joined Wolves. Right? Yeah. So it's not gonna be easy, right? Because the way you guys been playing, but hopefully that beating the Brentford away gives you a bit of confidence going away to Wolves, right? To get a result there. And like you said, if the next 3 games Moyes doesn't show any results, maybe the race is really on for Dyche, right? And of course, like what Ian's been saying earlier, Lampard's job, of course, has always been on the line too, right? So that's the other thing. So managers leaving or being sacked by the clubs coming February, I think the list is quite long at the moment, right? Even like what, like for Spurs, Ian, right? Conte in or Conte out, whether Conte is going to walk or Conte is going to get sacked, we do not know at the moment. All right, Elias. All right, big up Elias Krishnan. Hey, Elias, are you a Spurs fan or are you a West Ham fan, Elias? Right. Chris here from Selangor. Yep, I'm from Kuala. Actually, all right, I'm in Puchong at the moment, at Selangor also. And Kesha, he's in. Where are you at the moment, Kesha?
Where's Selangor?
Selangor is a state in Malaysia.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And Elias, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Right. if you're not sure, are you the Elias who is usually on We Are Tottenham TV? Yep. If I'm not mistaken, I've seen you on We Are Tottenham TV before, Elias, right? I would like for you to join me because I've been looking for a Spurs fan, for a Malaysian Spurs fan to actually join me to do shows at the moment, Elias, right? Do you want to? Right? Elias is in KL right now, yeah.
Kuala Lumpur, is that?
Yeah. KL is
Yeah.
Kuala Lumpur, right?
Yeah, I'm doing.
Yeah.
You're talking in code. I'm trying to interpret it.
yeah. If I'm not mistaken, yeah. Elias, if you're from Malaysia and you have, please reach out to me. All right. Spurs Vision. Let me see how you can do that. You want to hop on now? I'll throw you the link, right? And then you can hop on, right? If you are the Elias that hop, usually on We Are Tottenham TV, right? Yeah. It's good to find a Malaysian Spurs fan on the chats for me, right?
Yeah.
It's a very rare thing. Ian should know that. I've been looking for them for so long. Where are you guys hiding?
Okay.
And I think I'm the only Malaysian Spurs channel that's out here.
Yeah, look, it's wonderful being on this show with people from so many different countries. It's just brilliant. I love it. What I'll do is, if Elias wants to come on, I'll just knock off and.
No, it's okay, no problem. Because to tell the truth, I'm just going to end the show
probably
soon.
want to wrap up soon.
Now,
Anyway,
like a snack. Okay. How are we going to contact? All right, Elias, this is my Twitter. Reach out to me in Twitter if you have Twitter, right? Okay, what did I do now? Press the wrong thing. Change formation. Let's go back to the correct formation. Right. Okay, reach out to me on Twitter and we can catch up on that, right? This is my Twitter, right?
I look like a slob right now.
Yeah, we all do look like slobs right now. This is my Twitter handle. You can reach out to me there. Then we most probably can arrange something to do some shows, right? Yeah.
I follow you on Twitter. I must do.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter.
Yeah. I follow you. You follow you, don't I?
Yeah, of course you follow me, Ian.
Yeah,
come
that's
on.
right.
I'm also on Twitter. So
I will follow you everywhere.
Good job. You are already on Twitter. I thought you didn't have Twitter.
I just started.
You just started. Okay, send me private chat. Send me your Twitter. What call?
I can. Sure.
Yeah, send me the Twitter. Unless you want to let everybody know where your Twitter account, get more followers. Yep, you put it in the chats, then you can see that. Right, send me on the private chats your Twitter. Then I can follow you. Then we can reach out on Twitter too. Right, then you can do some things there. Right, but guys, thanks for being on. Of course, I want to thank Nippon, Mani, right, and of course Alan who was on earlier. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Elias. Okay. Elias has reached out to me on Twitter. Right. Okay. I'll reach out to him later. Just send him a love on that. Okay. Guys, thanks for being on. We will. Yeah. Chris. Big up Chris. Big up Elias. Right. Spurs fan. Right. It's good to get another Spurs fan. At last, maybe I found another Spurs fan. Join me on the show. And Keshav, thanks Keshav. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
Right.
Pleasure.
Our next show, I'll be doing a watch along for the North London Derby. I'm not sure whether Ian, you are free to join me. Keshav, if you want to join us for the North London Derby, right, you're more than welcome. Of course, it'll be something like 12:30 a.m. Malaysian time, right?
Yeah.
Sure
if Mandy comes over to watch it, which she usually does, then I'll watch it with her with the sound on rather than. But
I understand. I understand. Yeah. But guys, thanks for being on. Right, good chat today. We had a chat about being Spurs fan, being an Arsenal fan, our expectations, the FA Cup, North London Derby, right, and of course Keshav being a West Ham fan, his hopes, and one last question to Keshav: do we really want Sean Dyche to be a manager?
No, 100%.
Okay.
Not an ambitious appointment. To be honest, I like him on short term, but not on a permanent basis. To be honest, I don't think his style of football doesn't attract me. To be honest, he's to be honest like same like as Moyes. To be honest, I probably want someone more innovative, someone that can get the best out. There's so many a host of managers out there. You have okay. Let's be honest. We're not gonna get Tuchel or Pochettino. We probably get someone
You're not taking Pochettino. We're going to get Pochettino when he's sacked. Conte.
I was never mind about it. Not Pochettino. Another P. The Potter might be available soon.
Oh yeah.
If you're looking for an innovator, etc. He, anyway.
Ian, don't be surprised, right? If they sack Potter Pochettino goes to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Oh, that will be scary.
Heaven alone knows. Yeah.
Oh, I will never know. We'll never know. Yeah, but I guess who will be your ideal manager at the moment, Kesha? If you do get rid of
It's tough,
Right.
because to be honest, I really like what's his name, that manager. Right now, it's difficult. To be honest, I don't know who's attractive or manager out there. Right now there's Sean Dyche, there's Ralph Hasenhuttl, which I do really really like, and Marcelo Bielsa, which is another one.
Oh yeah, Marcelo Bielsa, yeah.
Ralph Hasenhuttl, I don't know, he's not been linked with many clubs at the moment, but I think he'll be a step up from Southampton. I think he'll get the best out of the players. He plays an attractive style football. He knows Gegen pressing very well. Example, when he came to Southampton, he implemented the pressing philosophy, and it translated into the players, which I thought they played very well. I think he'll suit the way we play, because to be honest, the way we are playing now, I don't even want to watch the games, to be honest, because the way we are playing it's unattractive. We play so slow. We don't trust for the ball. I don't know what you see in the game, but every time we play, or
Why are you describing Spurs play?
Yeah. You could be.
every time
Yes,
Kesh,
yeah.
let me come in a minute, just because my phone has flashed up with the news that Gareth Bale has announced his retirement from football, which I think is
Completely?
looks like it's completely, yes.
So he's going to turn into a pro golfer. He's going to turn into a pro golfer.
I can't hear you very well.
No, is he going to turn into a pro golfer?
A pro golfer. Oh, very interesting. Maybe he will. Maybe it's an interesting one. That tweet's been deleted. Well, look, that's what. Thank you for all the memories, Gareth Bale. There's a statement here, so.
I'm a Spurs legend.
I can just read the first paragraph. This is signed by Gareth Bale, so this is absolutely from the horse's mouth. After careful and thoughtful consideration, I announce my immediate retirement from club and international football. I'm just reading the list. He's thanking everybody, previous clubs, his mum, his sister, his parents, his sister, wife, children, and the greenkeeper at Madrid Golf Club. No, so I move on with I move on with anticipation to the next stage of my life, a time of change and transition, an opportunity for a new adventure. Well, that doesn't rule out.
Breaking news on Spurs Vision TV. Right, Gareth Bale has announced his retirement. Right,
yeah. Ian Beth is sacked and Gareth Bale recruited. There you go.
And sorry, Kesha, you were saying the ideal manager for you at the moment, if you do replace, but of course, Elias is saying Thomas Tuchel, but you don't think Thomas Tuchel will take up the position in West Ham?
100, I think 100% likely, because. Look, rival clubs don't want to, because he's from Chelsea, and he doesn't want to go to a rival club. He probably want to go to a Champions League club.
That's true. Yeah.
And Pochettino will be the same scenario also. I think, I don't know why. I don't know why our owners don't pay compensations for managers, because every time we want to get a manager, it's always someone who's out of job, someone who is, you can just he's like a free agent, and you can just pay them a rolling contract. I mean, so it's what it is.
Spurs fan, we sack managers and compensate managers all the time, so we are used to it, and we are so used to getting ex-Chelsea managers. So I don't know, why do we do that? So I don't even understand anymore. So so I guess it is what it is, right? And of course, you're asking, Thomas Tuchel is a Spurs fan? Seriously? No wonder. Is seriously Thomas Tuchel a Spurs fan? Whether Thomas Tuchel will come to us or not, I'm not sure. Right, but whether Thomas Tuchel will fit the Spurs style of play and DNA, I'm not sure. But at the moment now, all I know is that we must back Conte. Right, if the club doesn't back Conte, most probably Levy out will be getting worse. Right, so he is right. Yes, he is. That's interesting. Thomas Tuchel's a Spurs fan. Right, but at the moment now, last thoughts before we make our move. Keshav, any thoughts?
Good luck to all the clubs this week. Hopefully Spurs win, and hopefully West Ham win, but I don't know whether this is going to happen or not. I'm not sure. But let's see.
Yep. Ian,
Back Conte. All I ask, back Conte.
Yeah. back contact. That's all I ask. And before we go, we'll have to say, right, all of thanks to all you guys in the chats, right, for your support. Thank you, Elias, right, Chris Agamba, right. Who else? We have Ellie. Big up Ellie, right. Ellie's a good supporter of the channel too. Ben Kaufman, right, Ben. Right. Who else do we have? Alan Harris, of course. Alan Harris was part of the panel. Scott M, Jacob, Everman from Hong Kong, Catman Jazz. Thank you for support. Luca, even an Arsenal fan, right? Big up to Luca. Right, Jamie Pretty, my co-host, who's not co-hosting me today. Maybe he's working. Bob Spur, right? Bob Spur TV, right? Clement, big up Clement, and of course we got Phil, woo, from Phil P, right? And Mike Green, of course. Who else we have? Okay, Mark Cousins, big up to Mark Cousins. Brian Daigle, Brian brother, hope you get well soon, right? He's having a little touch of COVID at the moment, right? And all you guys, thanks for your support, right? At the moment now, let's hope that, like what Ian says, back Conte, if not, Levy out is going to be much stronger. Nick out will get much bigger, right? Guys, please listen, right? And as always, Levy out.